What's up, everyone? It's Kevin here. We're going to do a little special Christmas episode for Cut the Nets college basketball stuff this week. I've been doing a bracketology all season, just an Excel file where I make my own predictions and projections for stuff. So I'm just going to walk everyone through it, share my screen here on a Zoom, just like your teacher would, and talk about what we have, kind of have everyone's played half their games. Some conferences are in conference play. Some conferences are still waiting for that to happen after the new year, but I figured it would be a good time to start that. So I'm gonna pull it up right here, my Excel file. And basically this is the mechanics of it all. Got all the regions down 1 to 16, got the play-in games here. And then on the right side here, all the AQs from all the conferences, and then the at-large bids are all ranked here with the last four buys and the last four in as well. So we just get right into it. In the Midwest, Michigan is my number one team. The AP poll has Arizona number one because they really haven't done anything to get knocked off. The coaches poll has Michigan. I think Michigan has played the best. They have a lot of very, very large margin wins. Yaxel Lendeberg looks like a player of the year front runner along with the other freshmen that are in that conversation. But Michigan's been fantastic so far, kind of a dream start to their season, and I got them going up against the winner of a Howard Long Island playing game. 8-9, Cal and LSU. Cal is having a very good start. I think they only have one loss right now. And I'm interested with how it's going to go in conference play for Cal because they could be a team that if they have a good conference record, they even go up on this list. They could end with six losses, five losses maybe. Like I know the ACC is still pretty tough, but that doesn't sound crazy. And then they'd be maybe a six seed. So Cal could go up. LSU, they're doing pretty well so far, good enough to get in here with an at-large. How they do kind of in the middle tier of the SEC. I got a sneeze coming. That's not good that that happened, but anyway, LSU, we'll see in conference play. They're in for now. Things can change. Kansas, I have as a five. I got them playing McNeese, who is a common automatic qualifier to get into the tournament, and they're usually likely to make some noise. Kansas, I would love to see Darren Peterson back as soon as possible. I understand that we're probably at least 4 weeks out from him playing, which is okay. You have to take care of him. How are they going to do running their offense still out of Badunga in the Big 12? I don't know. It's given some of their supporting pieces, especially like Bryson Tiller, a chance to play a little bit, make some big shots. But Peterson's really going to tie the bow on this team, and their ceiling is, I think, a four, maybe even one of the back end threes, because they've looked pretty good without their best player, but we'll have to see how that goes. And then I've got Tennessee as the four here. They had a very good win over Louisville last week. They can kind of play fast and slow because they have size and they have speed and a good lead guard in Jacoby Gillespie. So it's a tough matchup for some of these mid-majors that are trying to either outpace teams or slow down teams in order to create a good matchup for them. I got them going up against UNC Wilmington, winning the CAA. William and Mary also basically a 50-50 shot at this point, I think, for who should be favored out of the CAA. Maybe one team will kind of show themselves in conference play. But UNC Wilmington's been to the tournament a couple times recently, so I got them in there for now. Michigan State, I have as the best three seed in the country, or also known as the number nine team. I got them up against Georgia Southern. Michigan State's looked really good. They've had a couple scares where the offense just doesn't look that sharp. Usually it comes in games where Jeremy Fears is just not very aggressive. He doesn't score a lot. He barely takes any field goals. So I'll be looking for them to right the ship, but Coach Izzo's always going to have his guys playing well. I got him as a three right now, playing Georgia Southern. Georgia just kind of snuck into the top 25. They've got a good record. They're doing well in the SEC. They're obviously better than LSU right now, but these are teams kind of in the middle tier end of the top 25 out of the rankings in the SEC where a lot can change. And then Ohio State and Oklahoma State both sneaking in, playing in Dayton in the 11 game to play Georgia. Iowa is kind of the Big Ten version of Georgia. They're in the top 25. They have a good record. We need to see how it goes when they have consistent games against better opponents because they could rise to it and it could elevate them, or it could definitely hurt them. So that's the danger of kind of the 6 to 10, 6 to 9 range for these teams is seeing how they do against better competition because that's what you're going to see in maybe a second round game in the tournament. These are tournament level teams that you're trying to play. St. Mary's, I don't know how to feel about. I mean, they're doing the St. Mary's thing, right? Like they're looking pretty good, good enough to get an at-large bid kind of near the end, but this year more than ever, it feels like they have more holes a little bit. Things aren't going as well. I'm not as impressed with what their resume looks like. So we'll have to hold on St. Mary's. And if they're kind of the same as they are in the WCC, maybe they steal a win from Gonzaga because they're known to do that in the regular season. We'll see. That win always moves them up a little bit. Right now, I got them as a 10. And then Houston as the 2 seed. They just had a good win over Arkansas where they scored a lot. If their offense can kind of come around to match the defense and be as consistent as we kind of know it can with Fleming's emerging and Sharp still being there, I mean, Houston's good. They were in the top three preseason. The defense, the effort, the work ethic, and size is always going to be there. Just what are they? Are they championship or are they like Elite Eight level? I don't know. We'll have to see. There will be some tests in the Big 12 for them, but they only have that. I think they only have that one loss. So they should be in a good spot, honestly. And then Quinnipiac I got as the 15 there. And in the East, UConn, after the Duke loss, UConn has taken over the fourth 1 seed. They've looked really good. I mean, they play pretty clean. They've got a bunch of really good players. My thing with UConn is I don't know if they really have a superstar or if they're going to be able to like have someone that they can really rely on at the end of these tight games against really good teams. They're not going to get challenged too much in the Big East. So we won't be able to see that for their conference schedule, but their record's amazing, obviously super well coached. They look really good so far. And then I got them going up against Robert Morris, who's been on a hot streak recently, 16 seed. Seton Hall, one of the other few Big East teams getting involved here. They've been playing pretty well into December. I wonder how the UConn matchup will look. I wonder how Butler's not been so bad. I wonder how the St. John's matchup will look for them. Baylor at the 9 playing well, very well coached, obviously. And then the 5 here is Arkansas. And Arkansas is interesting because they have Darius Acuff, who is one of the most electric freshmen in the country. It seems like he's getting way better every game. And then some of the supporting cast pieces, Trevon Brazile, Malik Thomas, Carter Knox, Billy Richmond, I just don't really know what I'm gonna get on any given night. Like Arkansas could totally be susceptible to getting slowed down by George Mason or something like that. I don't know much about UCF. They are the very last team in for me, so those things can change in a matter of games and weeks. But Arkansas, they've got firepower at guard, of course. It's a Coach Calipari team. The depth, it has the chance to come around. I need it to convince me. Texas Tech at the 4, coming off a fantastic win against Duke at MSG. Christian Anderson is electric. JT Toppin is dominant. That duo is very helpful. I think they're going to stay around this 4 range, ranked somewhere in the top 15 for most of the conference year. I got them going up against Lipscomb here, who obviously gave Duke a little bit of a scare as well. So this would actually be funny if this was the first round matchup, but this one kind of showed that they can play with the big dogs a little bit. They had a really good first half against Duke. Number 3, North Carolina. It was Seth Trimble's first game back. He was fantastic. He didn't even score that many points, but he makes a significant difference. Just watching him out there, being a point of attack defender, kind of helping other things go because Dixon and the other North Carolina guards are kind of not doing it for me. Um, I mean, they're okay, but they're not championship level guards, and they're not up to par with even the guards that North Carolina has had in the past. I'm thinking like Page, Barry, Love, Davis. They're not that really. The Caleb Wilson and Vesser combination, I think, is great. They play off each other really well, especially with Vesser's ability to space it and shoot it and space the floor. And they're both really long, which helps them on defense, helps them on rebounding and getting things out for the guards to be able to run. I got them up against Furman here at the 14. Number six, Virginia. Number 11, Miami, Ohio. Miami, Ohio, this is one of the highest mid-major bids that we're going to give out. They still haven't lost, which is pretty impressive. There are some good teams in the MAC. They got Toledo, they got Buffalo, who's been off to a really good start. They've got Akron, who most people are still calling to win the league because they were the preseason favorite by a while. Miami, Ohio hasn't lost. So maybe they keep that up in their conference, but they're off to a really good start this year. Auburn at the 7. It feels different without Bruce Pearl at the helm. Obviously, Johni Broome is not there. Chad Baker Mazar is not there. Dylan Cardwell is not there. This is a different team. And Tahad Pettiford, I think, is far from the leader of a championship team. So, I mean, take with that was what you will. Does it leave them a little bit susceptible early on? Yes, but also if they play kind of the same as they've been, it's not really going to be some crazy upset if they're a 7 or even an 8. I don't like their chances in a lot of in-conference games, even to some of the mid-tier SEC teams like a Georgia or a Florida. But definitely good enough to be a tournament team. I don't love them in the top 25, but I got them here at the 7, playing Villanova, another Big East team that's kind of sneaking in on the back end of the at-large bids just because they've got some talent. But we'll see how Villanova stacks up, especially against UConn. But if they can beat Seton Hall, if they can maybe beat St. John's, beat Butler, like I said, like the Big East won't have two teams in it probably. So there will be at least a third Big East team, and Villanova has the chance to cement themselves as that. Purdue's the number 2 seed. Still, everything other than the Iowa State game, they've earned the right to be called the best team in the country, but they have that Iowa State game where they kind of got whooped. So at home too, but Purdue's still really great. Braden Smith's an awesome point guard. Trey Kaufman-Renn, very good down low, very polished professional footwork. I got him going up against American. This is the best number 2 seed, Purdue, ranked number 5 in the country for me. That's the left side of the bracket, and I'm going to take a quick break and then we'll talk about the right side. We are back for the right side of the bracket. We pull it up here. The number 2 overall seed, the Arizona Wildcats. Jaden Bradley has caught a second wind basically in comparison to what his SEC play was. He's been fantastic. Koa Pete is flying up draft boards, a little bit of a jump shot to go along with his size and physicality and his defense. Things have been great for Arizona. Not too much to say, not too many notes. UT Martin, Alabama A&M, go to Dayton. Good luck. The Utah State AQ is interesting. They're the best team in the Mountain West right now. They're anywhere from 8 to 10 all year. They're on a little bit of a high, but also New Mexico has 10 wins as well. I think one of the teams is 10 and 3, one of the teams is 10 and 2. So this wouldn't be the first time that we have some at-large bids from the Mountain West. I suppose San Diego State could bounce back as well. Right now it's Utah State, and it's not just any old mid-major bid. They're playing higher than that. I got them at the 8. I got Clemson at the 9. Kind of similar to Cal, Clemson. Let's see an ACC play. Are you legit or are you ACC B tier or ACC C tier? Louisville at the 5. Now they had a tough loss to Tennessee, like I said, in the Tennessee game. I watched most of that. It was without Mikael Brown, who is a game changer on offense. Ryan Conwell is an awesome transfer. Louisville is still a good team, but the Tennessee game and other games have exposed the fact that if they see size or a dominant, slower paced team inside, then they have the chance to struggle. And some of the struggles against Tennessee wouldn't have been fixed if Mikael Brown was playing. But obviously he's an electrifying talent. They've got a good group on the perimeter that plays fast. Yale would be an interesting matchup. I got my Yale sweatshirt on actually. That would be an interesting matchup because they don't play super fast, but they play very efficient on offense. Some of it sometimes is from the inside out, especially with their best player, Nick Townsend, being a four. It would be an interesting matchup. That's just where their seed lines are right now. Louisville 5, Yale, one of the best mid-major 12s. You could talk someone into having them be an 11, but there are some pretty good mid-majors so far to start the year. Nebraska ball here at the 4. Nebraska's undefeated. They're gonna play some good teams here in the Big Ten. I think you play everyone in the Big Ten. See Purdue, see Michigan State. They're going to be challenged, and I'm curious how it's going to go. So far, things have looked literally perfect. I'm going to have to dissect some of these really good games to see where they stack up against other tournament level talent. I know they have the Illinois win at the last second, which is a very impressive win because they were not expecting to do that. But Nebraska's in there as the 4 right now against High Point. BYU is in there as the 3 right now against Liberty. BYU, it feels a little weird, but the results have been awesome. And the reason I say it feels a little weird is because kind of the 1, 2, and 3 on this team all want the ball. They want to be ball dominant kind of for different reasons. Saunders wants to shoot, AJ wants to get downhill, make tough twos, and Rob wants to facilitate and beat his defender off the dribble and attack the defense that way. It can all work. I don't know if it's going to step over each other in these bigger games. I think it's definitely possible that it does, but it's up to those three. What are we playing for? Are we playing to sacrifice for something bigger? Are we playing for ourselves? We'll have to see. I think they have the chance to get exposed early, but also the talent is absolutely undeniable. USC at the 6 with St. Louis, which is going to be the AQ out of the Atlantic 10 right now. They're kind of right up there with George Mason and VCU and Woj's St. Bonaventure's doing pretty well too. Um, this could be an interesting game. Obviously, USC has Chad Baker-Mazara in his age 30 season, and Robbie Avila is pretty old too, honestly, for St. Louis. But Robbie Avila is a dominant force down low that can pose a problem for any defense that hasn't seen it. I'm a little more interested in Kentucky. Miami's in there as the 10, another mid-tier ACC team. We'll see. Jaden Quaintance played for Kentucky. They beat St. John's pretty good. It gave hope because Quaintance being out there made everything a little bit easier for everyone on Kentucky. I still don't know if I'm in love with the way that Mark Pope is doing things, the way that the offense looks and is operating, but Quaintance is getting easy looks. He's disrupting shots. He's getting a lot of rebounds. In limited minutes, he was exactly what you want, and he makes any basketball team better. So I know Kentucky had a pretty hard fall over the past couple weeks, but I think it's possible. I'm not saying it will happen, but it's possible for them to climb back up, maybe inside the rankings to a top 20, maybe a 5 seed. There's a path to that for the Wildcats. And then the Zags are number 2, same old Gonzaga, older group, never gonna lose. Gonna sweep through the conference schedule. Record might even look good enough to get a 1 seed here. But Gonzaga's great. Mark Few's great. Braden Huff has been nice. The guard play, I mean, Tyon Grant Foster and Adam Miller have about 100 years of combined college basketball. Neither of them have really ever been experienced in late runs. So I don't know if the lack of competition will expose those two. Like sometimes it does expose Gonzaga in the Sweet 16 and the Elite Eight. Like they don't play super duper good teams throughout like the course of the season more than maybe once or twice. So it struggles a little bit. And then we got Vermont out of the All American East there as a 15. Shout out to Vermont. Last grouping, the South, Iowa State Cyclones, It's been fantastic. The win against Purdue was amazing. We've got them as the number three seed here because Duke moved down. We'll talk about them at the end here. Tamim Lipsey, Josh Jefferson, Milan Mamaklovic. It's a very dynamic big three. I said this on the last episode. It's a big three. They all provide a little bit of something. Lipsey's doing the ball handling. He's leading the charge, perimeter defense wise. Jefferson's leading things on the inside, and Mama Klovich is just an absolute sniper. And that team's always going to be able to defend. So props to Iowa State for having a great start to the year. Their record's always good. They always play games competitively. Good for them. Keep it up. The 8-9, UCLA and NC State. Teams very in the middle. NC State, add them to the list of the ACC hodgepodge where we kind of have to figure it out. Luckily for them, they have Darion Williams, one of the best players in the conference, and he can take over games like Clemson and like Cal. They kind of can't. And then UCLA, we'll have to see. I'm a little unimpressed with how Donovan Dent's been. I mean, I know he's a great player, but his ceiling is higher and he can be more, and his stats can and should look silly. So I don't know if he's getting warmed up. I have questions about their coaching with Cronin kind of being a head case. But I'm rooting for Donovan Dent. Let me have that be known. Did I mess up here? Nebraska at the 5? I did mess up here. This is Illinois. This is Illinois, which is good. I like talking about Illinois. Illinois lost to Nebraska. I I feel good about them. I don't know how far I can take that. I mean, Boswell's played in big games. He's got a big role on this team. Andrei Stojakovic looks like a very good shot maker. The Ivisic brothers also have big game experience as centers. It's a good team in terms of Final Four hopes. The talent feels like it's going to fall flat a little bit. They're going to come up short against teams that can just beat them or play hard defense and take them out of games. And their struggles, when they struggle offensively, I don't know exactly where they're going to have to go. Belmont has looked fantastic. They're going to be dangerous. This 13 is also going to be dangerous. One of the best mid-majors in the country, UC San Diego. But luckily for Alabama, LeBaron Philon, he's a stud. He's over 20. I think he might even be over 21 points a game. He can win games by himself, and he does it in a way where he's not really going to lose games by himself. Like he's not going to shoot yourself out of contests or anything like that. I'm worried in terms of long run wise about Alabama's supporting cast. Like I know Aiden Holloway, he's had some good games. He's a little bit inconsistent. The front court shaky at times. I'm curious how it stacks up in these SEC matchups. I think Alabama LeBaron Philon can lead them to wins, but their ceiling is also a little bit capped based on their lack of depth. But always well coached with Nate Oates too. Super fast pace, so this could be an interesting upset watch if they get a matchup with a super slow team trying to just like slow them down and play their game. I don't think San Diego's exactly that, so we'll have to see on Selection Sunday who these super fast or super slow teams get paired with, and if we have anything. It's better if you're the worst team to play completely different. Like if there's a team that plays fast and you also play fast, the power conference team, they're probably just going to play fast better. So those are things that we always look at. Vanderbilt currently the automatic qualifier in the SEC just for being the highest ranked team as a 3 seed. They look for real. They're undefeated, and it doesn't look like it's really an accident. Duke Miles has been great. They've got great shooting from the wing. Another thing I'm worried about with Vanderbilt, similar to Alabama, is the depth of the front court. I know McLaughlin's there. I know Jalen Washington's there. But some of these teams have better bigs and have better rotation of more than one big that you don't really lose quality minutes when guys are taking breaks, sitting on the bench. So that's something I worry about. They've been getting they've been getting by fine off their guard play so far, which can really take you a long way in college basketball. But I'm excited to follow Vanderbilt and see when those first couple losses, because you feel as if the couple losses are bound to happen, kind of how that goes and how they respond. And we got Northern Colorado in there as the 14. Florida has the 6. Florida's obviously been disappointing. Xavier Lee and Boogie Fland have been a show of inefficiency, but unlike the last two SEC teams I mentioned, this front court is fantastic. Condon's been great. Thomas Howe has been great. Chinyelu, he is what he is, kind of just like a run, jump, and dunk center, but it's helpful. And they still have the chance to be pretty solid off the back of that front court. And if you get some good games out of the guards, then they can put it together almost as good as anybody in the country. But it's really been uninspiring. They have some unfortunate losses, especially the TCU loss. Florida still has a chance, though. Maybe 5 seed ceiling, kind of like Kentucky, two SEC teams who have just really struggled because, I mean, not everyone in the SEC can have an amazing year. People are going to have issues. Florida's been one of those teams, but they have a pretty solid track record, especially with their coaching in their front court and be able to turn things around at least a little bit when they need to. And then we got Tulsa as an 11. I think this might be the highest ranked mid. All right, St. Louis is like the highest ranked mid-major 11, 12 seed AQ, but Tulsa is right there. They're off to a fantastic start. They play pretty physical, which would be an interesting matchup for Florida, honestly, in this 6-11. I'm curious to see how they hang in the American conference schedule. I know North Texas can be there. Some other teams get involved. Maybe not Memphis this year like it usually is. But anyways, moving on. St. John's. That St. John's team I watched play Kentucky, they're not going to go very far. They're not going to go very far in March. I feel like we just like overrated the team a little bit. Senon is he's not a lead guard on a great college basketball team. Ian Jackson's not either. Seems like Bryce Hopkins' injuries are kind of getting to him. And Zuby's great. I mean, he's a good center. He's a good force on the interior, but you need to have a supporting cast to enhance a center even more than you need a supporting cast to enhance a guard. So they've had their struggles. You kind of believe in Patino to figure things out like this. They're on the outside looking in at the top 25. They're still here getting, it's not really a home game, but being the better seed in a March Madness opening weekend matchup. They obviously have some talent. It hasn't gelled it. It hasn't looked great. They're at a lack of identity right now. And Indiana, another team getting in, maybe just off the heels of the fact that the Big Ten is very good this year. And they have a lot of teams and a lot of very quality players. And Indiana does not, I mean, they have quality players. It still looks a little funny. We're going to see how they hold up with the big dogs of the Big Ten because it really does matter, even if you don't win maybe these games, Michigan, Michigan State, Purdue. If you hold up against these teams, that'll be something that the committee thinks about. Like, oh, they can win this game and give a 2 seed a game or something like that. Anyways, we got Duke here. Fell in the comeback loss to Texas Tech. Did not look amazing. Their youth shows sometimes through the course of the seasons. I know they got older guys like Caleb Foster, Malik Brown, but like this team is really built around the Boozers and Dame Sarr and Patrick Gongba. They're freshmen. They're young. Isaiah Evans, sophomore, he plays a little young though. Like sometimes it shows. It showed against Texas Tech. It started to show against Lipscomb a little bit, but they figured it out for the second half. Duke is still right up there with anyone. John Shire does a very good job, I think, of coaching this team. And Cameron Boozer on both sides of the ball can be the best player and neutralize the other team's best player on any given night. So I think Duke's ceiling is still as high as it should be. They just showed, especially in that Texas Tech game, that they can be vulnerable to explosive offenses and teams going on runs and getting hot and things going wrong. So there you have it. I will kind of zoom in on this just for a second to show where things stand according to me right now. My projections. This is not perfect. I am not an expert, but it's fun. It's good to look at. And I like to update it weekly or so. I'll definitely be talking about it on Cut the Nets with Brady, and maybe around Valentine's Day will be a good time to do this again. See what's changed, see what I'm talking about now, and how that's played out throughout the rest of the year. Get some conference games under everyone's belt. And yeah, the bracket's the best. I mean, March Madness, how can you beat it? It's one of the best things that we have in sports. So I hope you guys enjoyed that run through. Let me know what you think about where your team is, where the team you hate the most is, and we'll talk about it more as the season goes on. Merry Christmas.